Hi everyone, in this video we're going to see how to install the Flutter software development kit or the Flutter SDK, as well as the other tools which are required to build Flutter apps. Open up your browser and go to this URL on the top, which is flutter.dev, and then click on the button on the top right which says get started. Select your operating system. In my case, I'm using Windows. I'm going to select the Windows operating system. Then scroll down and you will see the instructions on how to download Flutter and install Flutter on your desktop. A word of caution, installation of Flutter and the other dependent tools is not straightforward as running a wizard. There are certain steps that you need to take, and you need to go through this documentation very carefully and then start installation of Flutter. So go through the documentation and you will see that there are certain things like it's clearly mentioned here that there's a warning here. Do not install Flutter in a directory like C: program files that requires elevated privileges. So we need to take care of these details before we start getting into the Flutter installation. So click on this button to download the zip file, and once the zip file is downloaded, we can install Flutter. This zip file is about 650 megabytes and it may take about 5 to 10 minutes depending on the speed of your network. So once you're done downloading the zip file, we'll continue from there. So I'll pause this video for now. As you see, Flutter has been downloaded. This is Flutter for Windows and the version is 2.0.3 and it's a stable version. So we need to use the stable version, and the current version of Flutter is 2.x, in this case 2.0.3. So now we are going to right click on it and extract all the files. So as mentioned in the documentation, we don't want to use a directory for which we don't have the rights or privileges. So we're going to install it in C: root. So let me mention a folder here, like let's say src, and hit on extract. Extraction will take some time, so I'll again pause the video till the extraction of all the files is complete, and then we'll resume. The zip file is still extracting. While the extraction is going on, now that we are at 80%, we can look at one more step which is very important, which is updating our path. Updating the path to the binary or executable files of Flutter. So if we look at our Windows File Explorer, we see we have this folder on our C drive called source, where we extracted the Flutter zip file. Inside source there is Flutter, and inside Flutter there's a folder called bin. So our path to the binary files or binary folder is right here, which is C: /source /flutter /bin. So copy that by hitting Ctrl C. We can also check the same thing by going to the command prompt by typing cmd over here in the search bar, and if you do cd / and go to the C drive, you can do a cd source and then cd flutter cd bin. So this is the path to the binary files. So go back to the search bar and here type env to edit the system environment variables. And in this dialog box at the bottom, you'll see an option called environment variables. Click on that and go to the bottom portion which says system variables, and look for this path over here and click edit and add. Use this button new to add a new path and paste the path, or manually type the path as c:\src/flutter/bin, and then hit OK, and then hit OK again. You could check now that if you go back to path and hit edit, you still have this. So we are good here, we are good here, we are good here. OK, and hit OK again and exit out of this by hitting exit, by typing exit. Now let's look at the zip file. It's almost there, 95% complete. So let's go to command prompt by hitting cmd. Let's type path, and we see our path is part of the system's path. So by path we mean that we can execute Flutter commands from anywhere. Now right now I'm in c:\users/bodap, but I can still execute Flutter from here. So let's see. Let's look at the documentation. So step 1 was to download Flutter and extract the files. Here we are doing that. Step 2 was update the path by putting our path in the environment variables. We have done that. Let's see the status of our zip file extraction. Still about 60 seconds to go. Okay, so once Flutter extraction is done, we'll go to the command prompt by typing cmd and run this command called flutter doctor, flutter doctor. So let's check the status of about 30 seconds left. Okay. What Flutter doctor does is it checks the status of the Flutter environment and the dependent tools, and it will let us know if we need to install anything else on our PC to have the environment ready for Flutter development. So now the zip file has been extracted completely. So we can go back to the command prompt by typing cmd, and here let's type flutter doctor. And let's wait for some time. So it's getting some latest updates from the Flutter repository, and it says Flutter is good, but it couldn't find Android SDK. So we need to next download this Android software development kit and the Android IDE, which is this Android Studio over here. So let's go back to documentation and see how to get the Android SDK and the Android IDE, which are required to actually write the Flutter code. So the first step was to download the zip file. The second step was to extract the zip file. The third step was to update the path. The fourth step was to run Flutter doctor so that Flutter updates itself and also shows us what else needs to be installed. So it said we needed to get the Android SDK and the Android Studio. So going back to documentation, click on this link here to download Android Studio. So then click on Android Studio download, accept the terms, and save the file, which is 896 MB. Let's give it about 2 minutes to download. The installation of Android Studio is straightforward. So just double click on the executable that you downloaded, and the wizard will take you through the process. Launch Android Studio so that it can configure all the necessary tools and get the updates. Android Studio installs and downloads all the dependent components. You can click finish to complete the configuration of Android Studio. Now let's X out of this and go back to the command prompt by typing cmd, and let us try running Flutter Doctor again. We got almost all green check marks saying that Android Studio is installed, Flutter is installed. The only exclamation mark with an amber sign or a yellow sign is for the licensing thing. So we can fix that, and right here it shows that we need to run this command line flutter doctor space hyphen hyphen android hyphen licenses and hit enter, and that should fix the issue. It will get the just say yes to accept the licenses. Yes to accept the licenses. A series of licenses. Yes. Once here, all SDK package licenses have been accepted. Let's run Flutter Doctor once more. So now we have got a green check mark on all these options. First one is the Flutter SDK, the second is the Android licenses for all the Android devices, the third is the Flutter Chrome development for the web SDK, the Android Studio, and all the connected devices. So essentially we're all good. So type exit and come out. So we're done with installing Flutter and installing the Android Studio, which is the software development kit which we will use to write code and run the code and test the code, essentially developing the code for the apps. Thank you.